Assalamu alaikum. Testing, testing. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good? Okay. When my dad was my age, he was setting out to become a journalist. Working in this profession in his small village in Pakistan, he put to paper what was happening in the world so that he could have a positive impact. I often ponder the journey of his youth as I navigate my own, thinking about how much has changed since the days of our parents. Think about your own parents and how different daily life looked for them. Although, if we zoom out even more and look at the changes in our world over the past 1,000 years, we'll see recurring patterns. Patterns that lead nations to go from peace and prosperity to debt and destruction, as the same cycle of events repeats. But we no longer have to face these same challenges, as today's youth can disrupt the cycle. First, let's talk about the foundation, their upbringing. What has shaped them to start making larger impacts in the world? Today's youth have been brought up with two major influences, technology and unique barriers. Starting with technology, growing up and having this power right at their fingertips has made youth highly proficient in using technology to connect with others on a local and a global level. Technology has also amplified their sense of crisis, as youth consume content around global issues and events constantly, and have become increasingly aware of rising global inequality. Now, for the unique barriers. This includes the event that I'm sure we can all recall. It demanded adaptation, connected all parts of the world, and changed our world forever. Think about what recent global event I could be referring to. You might remember attending classes in bed and having to sanitize basically everything. If you haven't figured it out already, it's the pandemic. So much was happening around us, so we became educated. With the news coming from all different parts of the world, we learned about the various situations they were in. The pandemic highlighted the interconnectedness of global issues, and youth learned that local actions can have global impacts. Increased societal divisions have also been a unique barrier. For example, differing opinions on the climate crisis. This has actually spurred youth into action, causing them to have a larger presence in recent climate movements. Think of Greta Thunberg, who started with a school strike for climate action and now leads a global movement. Her actions have inspired millions to demand change from their leaders. Witnessing and understanding these societal divides have made youth more aware of the importance of bringing groups together to address common challenges. This exposure teaches us the value of inclusivity as we work towards collective action. Now that we've addressed what has influenced today's youth, let's talk about what this connective action looks like, starting with the form of activism. I mentioned before that when my dad was young, he had this desire to bring about change and improve conditions in society, which is the very definition of activism. And we can think about decades before our parents were even alive and how activism has always been a part of the youth culture. But our generation's ability to communicate and mobilize has been amplified. From the comfort of our homes, we can use social media, TikTok videos, hashtag movements, and more to broadcast messages without needing traditional media. We're able to bring a sense of connective action that's different from the movements of the past, which is resulting in a difference in our impact. Consider the Me Too movement, where millions of survivors of sexual harassment and assault shared their stories using the hashtag #MeToo on social media. This global outpouring of personal experiences demonstrated the prevalence of the issue and connected people worldwide. Legislative changes included amendments to the Canada Labour Code with enhanced requirements around harassment. Provincial occupational health and safety laws also mandated harassment policies. Tribunals and courts showed increased awareness of sexual harassment, recognizing that abuse of power is at its root. This societal shift has contributed significantly to a new focus on equality and respect in workplaces. In our generation, youth are uniquely placed to mobilize their collective strength, to establish dialogue and build partnerships across countries and all sectors of social life, including business, politics, academia, and more. This connective action is truly powerful because it emphasizes empathy, challenges people's worldviews, and opens up new perspectives. Oftentimes, the people who have come before us have deeply rooted beliefs. They're obsessed with the status quo because that's what allows them control and allows them to maintain their power. To alter the insistence they have on their own views feels like tackling a mountain, completely unmovable. But today's youth fight for what they know is right. They may get labeled as misguided, but every era has been exposed to something different, and we have grown up in the age of information and are learning how to weed out misinformation. For instance, Simone Zimmerman was raised like many Jews, a committed Zionist. She states her views on Israel were romanticized and simplistic before she started asking questions and realized the truth. She is now a major activist supporting Palestine and has even created a film called Israelism that has opened the eyes of millions of Jews to the horrific realities in front of them. The majority of Jews who are participating in the movement for Palestinian freedom are young people like Simone Zimmerman, who help their own loved ones escape the false picture painted in their minds. Expanding the perspectives of others can be difficult, but youth continue to take on this challenge. Because if enough individuals at the helm of affairs in this world wake up and see the writing on the wall, we could all live in a better world. Now that we've discussed how youth activism creates positive mindset shifts that are changing our communities, let's talk about the changes occurring in the corporations of our world through ethical standards. As we know, global corporate power is real. From production decisions impacting the environment to political policies being impacted. But what is always the bottom line for corporations? Can anybody guess? Yep. Profit, it's close. Starts with an N. Money. And if a corporation doesn't have employees, how are they going to make money? The future of the workforce, the young people of today, are choosing to work at corporations that are having a lasting positive impact. A study from June 2022 from Bentley University measuring people's views on their businesses' adherence to environmental and social values showed that the youngest age group, which is representing the green here, are the most likely to say it is extremely important for their workplace to promote environmental and social goals, which can be observed for all of the goals listed here, such as creating opportunities for low socioeconomic groups. They're also the most likely to leave their current job to work at an organization that has a greater positive impact on the world, with over 70% saying they would. Rather than what it was like for previous generations being heavily in survival mode, young people entering the workforce are prioritizing meaningful work, seeking employers with strong ethical values, and pushing companies to improve their standards. Today, we learned how technology and unique barriers have molded youth, preparing them to form connections globally and enact change on a higher scale. How their activism opens the minds of millions of people. And how the ethical standards of corporations are impacted by the values of our generation. This all speaks to the potential of youth today, but with many, many changes needed in our world, we must increase our impact. Imagine the kind of world you want to live in, the kind of society you want your kids growing up in. How can you actualize this future? How can we actualize this future? Start by recognizing that we are in a position of privilege, so our standards need to be higher. And to increase our capacity to enact change, we must leverage the power of connection. It's through these connections that we grow to gain credibility, which can help us get into the positions that we strive to attain and turn our passions into progress. So start today and reach out to 3 individuals in an area of expertise you want to be in. Look for advice, mentorship, or even friendship. Let's work collectively to disrupt the cycle for a better future. Thank you.